Today in the show, Florentino Pérez caves to an ultimatum for the first time in history and offers Vinicius Jr. a new contract. At the same time, Barcelona hijacks Rodri from Real, Ferran Torres is close to joining PSG, and Nottingham Forest prepares 65 million euros for Tijjani Reijnders from Manchester City. We talk about all this and much more right now. Bruno Guimaraes has officially become an Arsenal player, successfully passing his medical examination and completing all legal procedures regarding his transfer from Newcastle. The final transaction sum stood at £75 million sterling, which the Gunners are paying in a single fixed payment. Head coach Mikel Arteta has already held a personal conversation with the 28-year-old Brazil national team midfielder, welcoming him to the team and emphasizing that he had counted on this signing for several years. Signing the Brazilian midfielder substantially expands the London side's tactical arsenal ahead of the season kickoff. His high press resistance, ability to break through tight pressure via short combinations, and incisive verticals into the final third will allow the Londoners to elevate their overall ball possession level. Furthermore, his experience in a leadership role and composed play in high-stakes matches will provide the team with necessary mental fortitude over the course of the title race. The Gunners' newcomer signed a long-term contract for 4 years and will begin full training with the London squad in the coming days. Christian Romero becomes the primary transfer target for Madrid Atletico. The Spanish club is preparing an official offer for Tottenham regarding the 28-year-old Argentine central defender. The financial lock on this deal was unbolted thanks to the completion of Nahuel Molina's transfer to Roma for 18 million euros, including add-ons. Having generated liquid funds and cleared space on the wage bill, the Madrid side is prepared to match the 40 million euro proposal that Inter previously agreed with the Londoners. The Milan club was the first to agree a 40 million euro transfer package with the Londoners, but negotiations regarding personal terms hit a complete dead end. The Argentine demands to maintain his salary at 7 million euros net per year, which exceeds the Italian giant's wage ceiling. Diego Simeone immediately capitalized on this, personally contacting his compatriot and convincing him to choose the Madrid project. Unlike the Milan club, the Spaniards are prepared to fully satisfy the footballer's financial expectations. Beyond selling the right back to the Italian capital, the Madrid side is also weighing a potential exit for Matteo Ruggeri, which would completely open the pathway for an official query to the London club. Tijjani Reijnders has surfaced on Nottingham Forest's radar. The English club is actively exploring the option of signing the 28-year-old Dutch Manchester City midfielder. The Dutchman moved to the Mancunians from Milan in the summer of 2025 for 55 million euros, but due to intense competition in the midfield line, following the signing of Elliot Anderson and the demands of head coach Enzo Maresca, the player holds no guarantees of a permanent starting role and is open to a change of club scenery. Nottingham Forest possesses substantial financial firepower following the sale of Elliot Anderson and seeks quality reinforcements for their central axis, where head coach Oliver Glasner views the Dutchman as an ideal profile for rapid ball progression. The Mancunians value their midfielder at approximately 64 million euros to fully recoup their layout and turn a profit. It was precisely due to such a high price tag that Atletico Madrid previously abandoned the idea of a transfer. Currently, the Nottingham club is making initial contacts with the footballer's camp to evaluate transaction terms, while Newcastle United continues to monitor developments. Ferran Torres has landed at the center of a high-profile transfer detective story between Barcelona and PSG. The French club seeks to finalize the move for the 26-year-old Spanish forward prior to his return from vacation on August 12. Head coach Luis Enrique was the primary instigator behind inviting the forward, knowing his potential inside out from working together with the national team and seeking to bolster the attacking line following the striker's victory at the 2026 World Cup, where he scored the winning goal in the final against Argentina. The situation intensified due to a contract stalemate with the Catalans as the player's active deal runs until 2027. The footballer awaits starting 11 guarantees from Hansi Flick, alongside a substantial salary increase following 21 goals scored last season. The Spaniard himself publicly commented on the interest from the Parisian club.
In football, everything can change in a single minute. You never know what happens next. I have to be ready for everything, and I'll try to make the best decision so that I and my family are happy. That's the only thing that matters. The only thing I know for sure is that I'll be returning to training soon. Then we'll see what happens.
The Parisian hierarchy has already drawn up a 5-year contract with a salary nearly double the Catalans' offer. The Catalans themselves refuse to enter a financial bidding war and will examine a sale of the forward only in the event of his definitive refusal of a new contract, setting a minimum price threshold of 55 to 60 million euros. The funds raised would allow the Spanish giant to accumulate necessary resources for a decisive push in talks with Madrid Atletico for Julián Álvarez. Currently, the Spaniard has not given final green light to the Parisians, but the French side is pushing negotiations to close the deal rapidly. Barcelona itself retains total confidence that it will wrap up the transfer of 32-year-old Portuguese defender João Cancelo before the transfer window closes. Negotiations with Al Hilal regarding the final compensation fee continue, but the Catalans are close to a compromise in the region of 10 million euros. The player himself maintains an unwavering stance and sees his future exclusively at Camp Nou, for which he refused to return to the Saudi club's training camp and agreed to a salary reduction. Head coach Hansi Flick insists on the swift signing of the Portuguese fullback, considering him a key element to reinforce the defensive line ahead of the new season kickoff. Franco Mastantuono moves to Italian Fiorentina on a 1-year loan from Real. The Spanish giant agreed all details for the 18-year-old Argentine attacking midfielder, sealing a dry loan through June 2027 with no option or obligation to buy. The clubs will split the player's salary payments, with the Madrid side covering the larger portion of his wage. The primary goal behind this step is securing regular playing time in Serie A. Due to fierce competition in the Whites' attacking line following the signing of Yan Diomande, the Argentine talent would receive scarce pitch time, whereas the Florentines guaranteed him an important role in the core squad. The footballer has already given his full consent to the move and will arrive in Florence shortly for a medical examination and document signing. Real finds itself at the epicenter of the most complex, high-profile, and at the same time most absurd internal saga of the summer. The Spanish Giants board reached a substantial breakthrough in negotiations over a new long-term contract for 26-year-old Brazilian winger Vinicius Jr. Following a decisive meeting in Madrid featuring the player himself, his representatives from the Rock Nation Agency, and the Whites' board, the parties expressed mutual optimism. Final official consent from the footballer is expected within the coming days, as the club board requested an answer in the shortest possible time frame to close this issue before the new season kicks off. The primary driver that forced President Florentino Pérez for the first time in history to break his own take-it-or-leave-it ultimatum, which he previously applied without hesitation to legends of the caliber of Cristiano, Ronaldo, or Sergio Ramos, was a massive threat from Arsenal. The Gunners expressed readiness to lay out 150 million euros for the transfer of the forward, who had only 12 months remaining on his active deal, and make him the highest paid player in the Premier League with a salary of 30 million euros per year. Mikel Arteta's direct contact with the footballer's camp demonstrated to those in Madrid that the risk of losing their star was an absolute reality. The reason why Florentino Pérez accepted such an unprecedented compromise and caved to the player's demands lies in cold, pragmatic calculation. The forward represents his main personal and most successful transfer project over the past decade, while the club's record annual revenues allow them to cover the payouts without violating financial compliance regulations. Furthermore, head coach Jose Mourinho personally entered the negotiation process and convinced management that his attacking model relies explicitly on the partnership between the Brazilian and Kylian Mbappé. It was the Portuguese manager who insisted on raising the wage significantly above the previously fixed limit of 22 million euros. However, this concession creates genuine tactical and financial absurdity for the Madrid side, as the squad now features 3 world-class superstars competing for a single position on the left wing: Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr, and Yan Diomande. Acquired from RB Leipzig for 140 million euros, the Ivorian became the most expensive transfer in the history of the Spanish giant and was bought as a direct replacement for the Brazilian. On the left, Diomande displays his finest qualities through speed along the touchline and first-time crosses with his left foot. Now, the most expensive player in the club's history risks serving merely as a backup or will be forced to play on the right, losing his primary trump cards. This leads to another sacrifice of Rodrigo, creates an imbalance in the team's play, and sets a dangerous precedent for Jude Bellingham, whose camp is already demanding a review of his own contract. Currently, Real awaits the signing of paperwork in the shortest possible time frame, while Arsenal remains on standby in case of a last-minute change of heart from the player. The transfer saga surrounding 30-year-old Ballon d'Or winner and 2026 World Cup champion Rodri has reached its climax. Catalan Barcelona has taken a decisive step and entered the battle with Madrid Real for the Manchester City midfielder. Since the Spaniard has only 12 months remaining on his active deal, the Mancunians are in no rush to close a deal with the Whites, planning to hear all market proposals, while the final decision rests strictly with the footballer himself. The primary catalyst behind the Blaugrana's emergency acceleration was a severe injury to Frenkie de Jong. The Dutch defensive midfielder suffered a medial collateral ligament tear in his right knee while representing his national team at the World Cup and will miss 4 to 5 months, remaining sidelined until at least December. Beyond the medical factor, tension flared between Hansi Flick and the Dutchman over the player's risky decision to play through painkillers. Combined with the midfielder's massive salary exceeding 30 million euros per year, the Catalan hierarchy is seeking sale options, viewing Rodri as the ideal foundational replacement in the holding role. However, a move to the Catalan club comes with severe financial and registration hurdles. Barcelona needs to raise around 70 to 80 million euros for compensation to the English side and clear wage space to register the player in La Liga. Meanwhile, Real continues to hold favorite status in talks, as the Whites have been in touch with the Spaniards' camp for several weeks, and the player himself has repeatedly designated Madrid as his priority destination for a return home. Currently, the decision sits entirely in Rodri's hands. Spanish national team partners are pressing him in favor of the Blaugrana, whereas those in Madrid await confirmation of previously reached verbal agreements. Write in the comments which club Rodri should choose, Barcelona or Real.